It's official. The Bitcoin and Crypto Market Structure Bill, the Genius Act, and the ban on central bank digital currencies all passed the House and are going to the president's desk to be signed into law. The White House also confirmed the president's plans to support the elimination of capital gains taxes on small Bitcoin transactions. And sure, that's getting all of the press. That's pretty exciting, but that's not the most important news this week. No, the biggest news of the week isn't about the CEO and an HR lady trying to viva la vida at the Coldplay concert.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on, you're okay? Uh-oh, what?
It's not about Adam Back casually contributing 25,000 of his own Bitcoin to have 30,000 Bitcoin in the newly formed Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company, who just raised 1.5 billion and will be the fourth largest treasury company from the jump. It's not that IBIT had the highest ETF flows of any ETF this week. No, it's bigger. Donald Trump is set to unleash the largest capital market onto Bitcoin. It would be the biggest market that we've ever seen. We'll walk through the implications on this show. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's go.
From the Financial Times hit that President Trump is preparing to open U.S. 401ks, the retirement market, in part to crypto investments. Knowing how famously volatile digital assets have been, cryptocurrencies have been, is there not some risk in that when we're talking about retirement investments specifically?
I mean, if you're setting up a 401k, like for example, take the Trump accounts, for example. I mean, you're holding this asset over long periods of time. I mean, these aren't trading vehicles. Stocks themselves can be incredibly volatile. So, I mean, if it's for retirement, it's for long-term savings and wealth creation, then you want to give people the opportunity to diversify their asset flow in a way that meets their own needs. So I don't see a problem with any of it, actually.
The president is preparing an executive order that will allow people to invest into Bitcoin from their 401k. So far, people have only been able to purchase Bitcoin with after-tax or post-tax dollars. It's been unlawful for companies and fiduciaries to be able to offer an asset like Bitcoin to people to buy with their pre-tax dollars. Can you imagine if a percentage of every check in America every week or 2 weeks were to flow into Bitcoin? I mean, look at the success of IBIT. It's already been the most successful ETF of all time.
China. Take a look at the top inflows this week. The IBIT Bitcoin ETF, that was saw the top inflows as cryptocurrency hit a new high, or Bitcoin hit a new high, and the stablecoin bill, it worked its way through Congress.
And just with post-tax dollars, IBIT was the most successful ETF in terms of inflows this week. With the new bills passing, everyone's talking about credit card fees going to zero and being able to buy coffee with Bitcoin. But that's not the big idea. But here's a leader of the Department of Financial Services talking about the implications of credit card fees going to zero if Bitcoin and stablecoins are able to proliferate throughout the economy.
You would think the margin compression on all of these fees would go to basically zero.
All the credit card coming to the superintendent of the Department of Financial Services. And you don't mean her, actually. You mean if you were a person who could.
If you were a person trying to understand where this all goes directionally, if this works the way it's supposed to work, you would think that it would take out a lot of margin. And then the question, who is going to capture that margin?
So that is the promise of stablecoin, right, is that it is redoing the financial infrastructure so things can move more quickly, they can move more cheaply, faster, right, across borders and all of that.
In the midst of all the videos showing the House members passing the Genius Act and all of the other bills yesterday, this clip from Brad Sherman is pure gold.
It is customary when we consider major legislation to give credit to those who created the bill. The ghost of Sam Bankman-Fried looms above this auditorium. He is the genius behind the Genius Act, and one can only hope that he's able to watch C-SPAN on a black and white television set in his prison cell.
I want to take a moment and pause to thank and honor Brad Sherman for being the legendary internet troll that he is. That is a legendary troll. The big idea isn't cheaper payments. That's a second order effect of better technology that's cheaper to operate with less infrastructure and less middlemen. That's just deflation happening. The big idea is that there is a capital asset that is being mispriced relative to other assets that the majority of the world doesn't quite understand yet. We're talking about $500,000 a coin, $10 million a coin.
Transition where the digital world will take off like a rocket to Mars.
So we saw Bitcoin hit all-time high, is capping over that 123,000 mark. And we've seen inflows in the past week that have been their highest of the year. Where do you see Bitcoin prices going in the near term and in the long term?
Well, I think short term it's going to $500,000, and the long term it's very conceivable to be at $10 million, because what happens is that one Bitcoin is worth 100 million Satoshis, and they're less than a penny. When they go and trade at a penny, that means Bitcoin's at $1 million. So when people go to Schwab and go and buy a HODL, a Bitcoin ETF, they're basically buying Satoshis. And for $1,000, they're getting almost 1 million Satoshis. $2,000, they easily have the best penny stock idea in the world because they're buying increments of a penny. And as adoption takes place, and there's a limited scarcity of supply, it will rise. I just saw the Birka bag, the original Birka bag, which cost $2,000, went for $9 million.
If a Birka bag is worth $9 million, who's to say that Bitcoin won't be worth at least that much in a decade? Shout out to Frank Holmes, Hive Digital, Nathan Fast, the whole Simply crew that was able to be at the NASDAQ yesterday in New York to celebrate a big moment with the Hive Digital team. Speaking of NASDAQ, Adam Back is partnering with Cantor Fitzgerald to launch the Bitcoin Standard Treasury Company, which is going to merge with Cantor's other SPAC that's already live and listed. It will be the largest SPAC deal ever. They're raising $1.5 billion and will start off with 30,000 Bitcoin from the jump. These types of capital flows are under discussed because when you look at these Bitcoin Treasury companies, you see them continuing to buy and stack Bitcoin. How many of them have you seen actually sell it? Speaking of never selling your Bitcoin, don't sell your Bitcoin. Work with a company like Ledn to borrow against this pristine collateral. If you want a $4,000 loan in dollars, well, now it's possible to just post $8,000 in Bitcoin collateral. Ledn has been doing this for over $9 billion worth of loans since 2018, and they've been the leader in Bitcoin-backed loans. Get dollars in your account or in your local jurisdiction if it's not dollars in less than 24 hours. The process is fast, simple, transparent, and easy to use and understand. Go to learn.ledn.io/simply to get started. Loans start at just 12.4%, but you'll get 0.25% off your first loan if you go to the link learn.ledn.io/simplybitcoin. Never sell your Bitcoin. One of the things that you do when you have valuable assets like a Birka bag that's worth $9 million is you protect it. And the way that you protect your Bitcoin is by removing it from third-party exchanges and doing it with confidence. The best way to do that isn't to learn how to do it all on your own, to brave it out, to tough it out, to try to be a sovereign individual all by yourself. You can learn from the experts. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the bitcoinway.com/simplybitcoin. They'll hook you up and they'll teach you exactly how to secure your pristine collateral. Wonder what they're doing to secure that $9 million Birka bag. That's another discussion. Head to the bitcoinway.com/simplybitcoin. Here's a great clip from Joe Rogan's podcast that he had with Jack Dorsey explaining about blockchain technology and why it's cheaper and it's more efficient. And the conversation started about blockchains and the efficiency of payments and those things. But Jack Dorsey made a great comment at the end. Bitcoin is making everything and everyone irrelevant who doesn't adopt it.
You know, the source of truth can be verified at any point around the network. And you can see, this annotation around how content or how around money traveled.
So you don't have to go to an institution to get the records.
There's no centralized check. There's no centralized control over it. And I think that is threatening. It's certainly threatening to certain services behind banks and financial institutions. It's threatening to some governments as well. So I just look at this and how do we embrace this technology, not react to it in more from a threat standpoint, but what does it enable us to do and where does our value shift? And that's what we should be talking about right now is how our value shifts. And there's always really strong answers to that question. But if you're not willing to ask the question in the first place, you will become irrelevant because technology will just continue to march on and make you irrelevant.
Why did I share that clip? Well, with all the discussion centered around zero cap gains and credit card fees going to zero, and the great use cases for technology like stablecoins and Bitcoin in the payments infrastructure, that isn't the big idea. That's a second order effect. What if you could create a collateral? What if you could create an asset that's not tied to the existing financial system? And what if that asset were able to be verified and to be stored as energy, not just now, but hundreds and thousands of years from now without any loss in value. That's the big idea.
The idea of being able to move $1 million from, New York to Tokyo is only the second order idea. It allows you to bypass the Fed, and it allows you to bypass all the credit layers. So you don't need the central bank, you don't need the correspondent bank, you don't need the credit card network, etc. Yeah, all nice. But what I've said tongue in cheek, if you go back some of my tweets, I said the magic of Bitcoin is not transferring money to someone 10,000 miles away. It's transferring money to someone 10,000 days away. Right? It's a much bigger idea, right? The minor idea is I transfer the money through space, cross domains, point to point in cyberspace. The bigger idea is I manifest the money in cyberspace, because something in cyberspace never dies. It's forever. The real interesting idea here is not that I can send $1 billion from point A to point B for $1, which is whatever, 1,000x, 1,000,000x cheaper. If I can move money 1,000,000x cheaper, that's an idea. But the idea that I could put the $1 billion into cyberspace at all, where it will be uncorrupted and immortal and last for 1,000,000 years, that's a much bigger idea. And then the biggest idea is that once I put it in cyberspace, it's not just immortal, it's pure energy, right? People get confused about energy because, and we could talk about it a bit, the truth is it's even better than energy, it's scarcity.
Bitcoin is the best store of value in the world. And what's going to continue to happen is that there's going to continue to be more buyers than there are sellers, more demand and less supply. And when capital flows like your 401k come online, that's going to make it even more scarce and even more harder to acquire. It's sort of like a $2,000 Birka bag that's now worth $9 million. We're going to look at $120,000 Bitcoin and say, man, those were the good days. Stay locked in and block out all the noise. This is pure signal and pure alpha. One of the ways that you can continue to invest into your Bitcoin journey is by going to conferences and meeting Bitcoiners in real life. That's what hundreds of people are going to be doing from November 11th through November 13th in Dallas, Texas at the Bitcoin Mining Disrupt Conference. Get 20% off your tickets by using the promo code SimplyBitcoin. As always, thanks for watching these videos. Please do like and share these videos and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't. This is Dante Coca, Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.